Hey guys, Bass Pro Shops Nitro Pro Brad Burkhart here. And I put on Facebook a couple of days ago that I was going to do a complete rundown of my last BFL event on Lake Cherokee on the 14th of March. So here we go. I'm going to break it down into our conditions and what I like to do, what I chose to do, and how I ended up in third place with 14.5 pounds. Now, what we had on Lake Cherokee was a ton of rain, a lot of snow. The water was getting cold. It was trashy, it was dirty, but the thing that you've got to remember, guys, is that the clock is ticking in their brain. We're mid-March. They know it's time to come to the banks. So what I decided to do was crank shallow, and that's my most favorite thing to do this time of year. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the actual rod, the reel, the crankbait, and the line, and show you exactly how I did it, or tell you exactly how I did it, and then maybe it'll help you out somewhere down the road. Now, first of all, the crankbait. It's a DT6 made by Rapala, and the color is crawdad, okay? This is hands down my most favorite crankbait to pull in the spring when the water's dirty. Regardless, doesn't matter where I'm at. Don't matter if I'm in Georgia, Alabama, Kentucky, Tennessee, doesn't matter. That's it right there, the crankbait. And if you notice, I do a little something to him. I changed the hooks. These are KVD, short shank, wide grips, and if I'm not mistaken, I believe these are a number 4, okay? But that, I always take the stock hooks out and put those on. You just got more bite to it, all right? But that's it. That's the actual bait that I used last weekend, okay? As far as line goes, now remember, I'm going to be cranking this thing fairly shallow. So, I'm not worried too much about line size and getting something really deep. I want some strong line. And the line that I always use is P-line, 15-pound floor clear. That's it right there. That is the line that I used last weekend. And if you notice, the color is lime. Hey, remember I told you, the water's dirty. Who cares? It doesn't matter. They're biting this crankbait out of a reaction anyway, okay? I mean, it just comes crashing through their front door. And trust me, they don't have hands. They can't figure out what it is. The only way they can go check something out is with their mouth. And they destroy this thing, okay? So, DT6 by Rapala in crawdad, 15-pound floor clear. That's the line I was using. Now, for the rod, okay? A lot of these fish I were catching were kind of sluggish, so you don't really want a really stiff rod. I prefer a medium action rod, period, anytime I'm cranking. And the rod I was using, you can see right here, it's a Bass Pro Shops Carbon Light Johnny Morris series, and it's a 7-foot rod in medium action. It's got a lot of good tip to it. That way when they load up on it, you're not going to pull it away from them. It's going to have plenty of backbone, especially when that big one bites. You know, I had big fish that day also that weighed 4.8 and didn't even realize I had her hooked till about 3 cranks in. The bite was so soft. And the rod gave just enough that I didn't pull the bait away from her, and she was able to get a hold of it really good. The reel, always, no matter what. It was a Bass Pro Shops Pro Qualifier, and you can see it right here. Now, here's the only thing I do different with my reels, okay? When I'm cranking, I use a 5:2:1. I still use the same reel, Bass Pro Shops Pro Qualifier, but I like a 5:2:1 ratio. That just kind of puts me in tune with my plug. I can crank the living daylights out of it, but I'm still not moving it too fast, and I can tell what that plug is doing. With a high-speed reel, you lose some of that feel and that touch that you get with these lower speed reels. My advice, anytime you're cranking, 5:2:1, okay? That's just my advice. Go with it, but that's what I do, 5:2:1. So real quick, let's just kind of go back through it. DT6 crawdad color. Remember, I changed the hooks on it. I put the KVD short shank triple grips, and I believe these are number 4. Just don't overpower the bait, okay? The line is 15-pound floor clear by P-line. It's a copolymer line that has a fluorocarbon coating. It's extremely tough. It's very abrasion resistant, and you can throw these little plugs a mile with this stuff. The rod, Bass Pro Shops Pro Qualifier. Bass Pro Shops Johnny Morris Carbon Light rod in medium action. Not medium heavy, not medium light, medium. Just get you a medium. This is a 7-footer. That way I can make long casts. And the reel is a Bass Pro Shops Pro Qualifier in 5:2:1. Now, I told you I was going to show you what I was doing, and I'm not on Cherokee today, so I can't take you to the exact spot, but here's what I'm going to tell you. I was fishing main channel banks, rocky main channel banks, and there was a section of just ditches in through these banks, and I was in the river portion, and I had current coming down out of the river, and I would just position my boat below these little ditches on the bank, cast into the current, crank the bait back with the current, and they were just loaded up in those ditches. I literally would make 10 to 15 casts per ditch or drain, whatever you want to call it, until I would move the boat, okay? And that's the way I did it. I think I caught a total of 9 keepers that day, and my big fish was 4.8. I had a limit, I think, by 10 to 10. Now, was it that way all over the lake? No. But that bait, the line, the rod, the reel was the perfect setup, and just finding those little sweet spots of those little drains and ditches coming off the bank with current, where they could get down out of the current, they would just come up and snatch that thing. That was my key to my success, and I almost pulled it off. So maybe next time I will. I hope this info helps you out somewhere down the road. Hey, I use this little plug and this setup at least until the water gets up around 55, 58. You can catch them like that all the time. My name is Brad Burkhart. Remember, Bass Pro Shops Nitro Pro. You can go to killerbassbaits.com and see this video over and over and over. Send your buddies there. Check it out on Facebook. I hope this helps you out. Good fishing, and God bless.